My guest today is Joan Kane. She is a director, a writer, a performer, and an educator, and recently performed her script of Almost 13 in the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, receiving a 5-star review. She also got favourable reviews for her direction of Safe and What Do You Mean in New York and Edinburgh. She is the founding artistic director of Ego Actus Theatre Company. Off Broadway, she directed Sycorax at Here, Play Nice at 59E 59 Theatres, and I Know What Boys Want at Theatre Row. She directed 6 characters and Search of an Author in Oslo, Norway, and Kafka's Belinda in Prague. Joan was awarded Best Director in the United Solo Festival, where she has directed 6 pieces. She was named to the Indie Theatre Hall of Fame by New York Theatre. She also has directed plays and readings at the Lark, Ensemble Studio Theatre, Urban Stages, Workshop Theatre, Nylon Fusion, Abingdon Theatre, Oberon Theatre, the Samuel French Short Play Festival, Schreiber Studio, and many, many others. She is an alumni of the LaMama Directing and Playwriting Symposiums in Umbria, Italy. She is a member of the Playwright Directors Unit at Actus Studio, the League of Professional Theatre Women, the Dramatist Guide, and the Society of Stage Directors and Choreographers. My goodness, what a bio. Welcome to the show, Joan. How lovely to have you here, live from New York. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. So, as the show is called Unbroken, the first question that I always ask all of my guests is, what does that word unbroken mean to you?
Well, I'll go this way. I believe that being broken is okay.
Hmm.
I work with the methodology called kintsugi. It's the Japanese art of taking pottery that is broken, and instead of throwing the pieces away, putting it back together with this gold glue. And the pottery becomes even more beautiful than before it was broken. So for me, I've embraced my brokenness, and this is who I am. And it's a matter of not trying to say this didn't happen to me, but this did happen, and these are the pieces. And how am I going to put them back together?
Talking about Almost 13, which I believe you were encouraged to write it when you were in Italy at La Mama, the writing
I was at the
retreat.
LaMama, yeah, I was at the LaMama writing workshop uh symposium. I've done the directing symposium, the writing symposium, and this is where I started
Hmm.
my play. I wrote it originally as a 16 character full-length play. Now, it's really expensive to produce a 16 character full-length play. So after a while, I thought about it and I said, I'm going to make this into a solo show.
Hmm.
I work a lot with solo artists, um, basically people who want to tell their stories, and I help them to develop them, and then I direct the play.
Tell us what happened. What happens in the play?
So I grew up in this neighborhood in Brooklyn. Everybody, like, when we look at the United States, we think that, oh, the South has this, really racist place. Yes, segregated everything. But the North was just as segregated. It wasn't as open in its segregation and its racism and its hatred. And I grew up in this neighborhood. It's now called Park Slope. Back then it was called South Brooklyn. It was very working class. Um, and we had Fifth Avenue, and on the left side of Fifth Avenue was the African American and the Puerto Rican people lived. On the right side, the Irish, the Italian, and the Jews lived.
Hmm.
But we never intermingled.
And which side? You were on
I
the
would
Irish, on the Italian
Irish,
and the Jews.
Italian, Jewish side, yeah.
Okay.
And what happened was this kid Juan came into our neighborhood, and I talked to everybody. I was like this really big mouth kid. I talked to everybody, and I was in everybody's business, and I was scrappy. I was a tomboy, all of that. And basically, what happened is I was talking to him, and Tony, who was the head of the local gang, who thought it was his place to protect the neighborhood, he saw me talking to Juan, and he came back and he hit him over the head with a bat. And I was told that I don't remember a lot of it. I remember, I mean, I still go through when I hear a loud noise, hearing the bat hit his skull. And I did nothing. And that's the guilt that I live with. That's the sense of I should have stepped up. I should have done something. I was hiding behind the stoop.
And remind me, how old were you?
I was 11.
So really, if you see any 11-year-old, what could they have done with a guy with a baseball bat?
That's the rational part. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the rational part. But the person in me, I should have done something. So there's that guilt that I live with. And I tell myself, I couldn't have done anything.
it's the
This
head and
guy
the
was
heart, isn't
powerful.
it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's well, basically what happened was he knew that I was hiding behind the stoop, and he knew that I had seen it. Um,
And Juan died of his injuries.
yes,
Yes.
and they had put him in a garbage can. And I was told that they found me holding him. I don't remember that part of it. There's a lot of it. I don't remember a lot of it. Um, and I was holding him. And the cops took me away and they asked me questions, and I didn't say anything. I became what you call a select mute, and I stopped talking. I would only talk to my older brother, Chrissy, and he's a major character in the play. And he was the one who really helped me to heal. Because my mom was a single parent. My dad was not around, and she had kids that she had to take care of. And basically, Chrissy was the one who how can I say it? He took care of me. And it was through his kindness and his love and his come on, kid, we're gonna do this, that I think the healing went on. I then became part of I went to a Catholic school. My family was like seriously Catholic. They expected people to go, become a priest or a nun. And I went to a Catholic school and they wanted me to go in an all-girl Catholic school. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I hated it. And after what I saw, and after Tony came back and raped me to keep me quiet,
And you,
I,
you, you gloss over that sentence like it's nothing. After Tony raped me to keep me quiet.
I want to talk about it. I think it's all those years of it being bottled up, and I can now talk about this. And ultimately, what people say to me, thank you for doing this, because I've had a very similar thing happen to me, and I've never told anybody about it. And my answer is, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're talking about it.
And I've got goosebumps now because that is the power that comes, isn't it, when we share our stories?
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
unlock
know.
the door for someone else. You give them permission to step into their dark chapters that they thought, I can't possibly go there. And I think, well, if she's okay to do this, then I think I could be okay too.
One of the things that I also did is I wrote down all the events that happened, and then I ripped it up. I actually burnt it. I
Yeah,
went down to the Hudson River and I burnt it, and I released it.
yeah,
I'm like, I'm releasing this. You can't hold me anymore. You don't have this power over me
yeah.
anymore.
You're just like this warrior woman. Oh, I just love it. So I was reading one of the many, many reviews, and one of them says that you set an example to others to face up to their stories and to be prepared to share them in order to disseminate, perhaps dissipate, and gain some healing through the process. But I'm hearing that's happening for you, but that's happening for
Oh,
your audience so
yeah,
many times as well.
totally,
It's a
totally.
win-win, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that all the years of being a dramatist, an actor, a director, um, I've been able to compartmentalize it.
Mhm.
I've been able to say, this is the material I'm going to use. And what has helped me to relive it, but I really don't relive it. I present it.
Okay.
That's different than reliving it.
Absolutely. So you
Yeah.
don't speak from the wound, you speak from the scar.
Oh, I like that.